Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to maybe make windows for a project of yours. I think this will work on a variety of things. Now on these two you can see on here this is the finished product. So this is had the windows done and it's basically like a white glue that goes clear. Now I have tried using PVA glue, so I would advise trying not to be clever like I was because it doesn't work. It's basically a thing called Kristal Klear. I'll show you that in a second, but I'm going to show you on this one how I do it, and good luck, I guess. This would work on a multitude of things. I think if you were doing houses and you wanted to do the windows and possibly other trains actually, this would work a treat. The only thing I would say is you can see how the window frame here is quite flat. I've not tried like a concave or convex type, a curved window basically. I don't think that would work too well. It would work and it would get you out of trouble, if you were temporarily wanting a window, but it seems to work great on these flat windows. So I'm going, instead of me buying a Graham Farish window, I want this one to look like the other one because I just do. I call these the twins. So I built these kind of at the same time as each other, so they're a digit off. It's just a fictional number for me, but I just call these the twins. So anyway, enough of me rambling on. I'll put a link in the description for the stuff that we're going to use in this video. And let's go over to the bench and I'll show you how to apply it, I guess. And basically that's what the finished result is going to be. Okay then, so we're over at my bench and this is the culprit we are going to work on today. Now, let's see if we move this light in. Now the substance we're using today is this stuff by Microscale. It's Kristal Klear and it smells a little bit like white glue, but they've added something in it. Whether it's vinegar or not I don't know, but honestly I would just buy one of these. I wouldn't try and use a PVA glue or anything, even though it looks similar and smells similar-ish. This stuff for me actually dries a lot clearer than the white glue, and also this stuff dries thoroughly throughout to become clear. If you use white glue, it has a haze around the edges where it's thicker. Now I've used this quite a lot actually. I only got it the other day and I wanted to show you a video because I've been umming and ahhing myself with buying some of this, and I thought, nah, it's going to be useless, and it's not. It's really good stuff. And I just use a cocktail stick, okay? So tiny little bit on the end ish. Yeah. And then let's just have a little look in there. What you want to avoid, you want to try and get somewhat of an even thickness when you apply it. So what I mean by that is, you see how thick that window is depth wise. You want to do that all the way around. It doesn't matter if it's a bit jaunty. Anyway, what I do, you got that pretty quick. So you don't want to fumble around for too long even. Now what I tend to do is I'll do a little bead like this. And I tell you what as well, I haven't done this yet, but I'm sure as anything, if you drill a hole, so look, I've done a bead all the way around. If you drill a hole in a shelf for lights, I'm very sure you can fill that hole with this stuff, and then you've effectively got yourself a lens. Now I'm going to try and show you this. Now I've beaded, let's get a bit more. I've beaded some on this cocktail stick. Now I'm just going to sew it in, colour it in. There we go. Let's bridge the gap. I'm trying to get the straighter the line you can get, the better. Now that, just let that dry and it'll be beautiful. And then what I'll do is I'll work around and do the other windows, you can see in there sort of how neat, it's quite neat in there. When that dries, it will literally look sort of, it will look like that. Now, because you're seeing this zoomed in and it's N-gauge, you're probably going to see like impurities and things, probably in my paintwork to be honest, but in reality they look actually really quite good. I'm really impressed with this stuff. So I'm going to work around just doing the rest of this. I'm probably going to do this window here actually, and then I'll do the back ones just to show you again and again what I'm doing. So I'm also doing this from a distance. I like to get a bit close when I'm doing a job, because then I can sort of get up close and personal and actually see it easier. It's much easier when it's like in your face. So the beauty is as well, it's somewhat not, when I say not permanent, what I mean is it's almost like PVA glue. So if you didn't like it, and I've done this a few times, I've got it wrong, you can actually just push it back out. But I would imagine if you've, because I've got this fairly recently, I would imagine if you didn't like it in say 3 weeks, you can still push it out. But you haven't got to be like careful of breaking them. So you want to leave it a couple of days before you start like poking and prodding it. But now these ones on the 20 are a little bit trickier, I think, because I just want to just kiss the edge. So now the quicker you act on it as well, because what it's wanting to do is dry quite quickly here, so the quicker you are with it, the more consistent the finish will be. And you don't want to keep poking and prodding it. If anything, you want to just drag the stick around, because then you don't introduce bubbles. But overall, if you screw it up, just wipe it out with a bit of tissue, try it again, and then if it looks like quite bad when you've done it, just push it out and try it again. Like I say, I would leave it a few days before sort of trying to poke it with your finger. I'm not sure why you would, but to me, I'm going to call that there, and you'll see on the inside. No, you won't. That's it, boys and girls. I'm literally going to leave that. You can see there, it's already drying out in the middle. That's probably where it's a little bit thinner. Now, I'll just give you an example here. I'm going to top that up. But it's already got skin on it, you see. So if I was to let, this is really difficult to show you. I'll try and get it in the light. It's just not showing. That little dot I've added, it's now got a little ring round it. I'm hoping that comes out. The best thing I could probably do, I'm going to try and just add more, but it's probably a really bad idea. No, that's ridiculous. At this point, you are literally better just pushing it out, which is what I'm going to do now, and I'll show you. You get a bit of tissue, and it feels like PVA glue, but they've definitely added stuff to it. So, like I've said a million times, you can't use PVA glue. I mean, you can, but I've already tried that, and it just does not work. And actually, you know, I didn't have to mess it up then when I took this out. But I'm glad that I have shown you, oh look, this is what's happened, I've messed it up. So that you know what to do if you, I don't know, have a whoopsie. No, I should have just left it, but it's human nature to poke and prod wet things, isn't it? So, I think the next thing, let's just grab a cotton bud. It'd be a wet cotton bud. I'm just being careful not to like poke that window out. You can see they're already going off, look. That one's going, and those two back ones are already starting to dry. So in the space of a couple of minutes they're going. But what you'll find is the edges take quite some time to go off. But I don't know, it's quite warm at the minute, but if you give it 2 hours I think they'd be fairly transparent. You leave it 24 hours and they look just amazing. But then really, you leave them a bit longer than that. I think if you left it a week, they'd be fairly tough, if that makes sense. They would have hardened. And you can see what I'm doing. So we've got a nice little edge again. I've got a bead on the cocktail stick, and I'm going to just colour it in. And there we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this to one side. I won't show you it dry. I mean, you'll probably see this logo in the future video, but the finished result will be this. Because I did this one exactly the same. You'll have to excuse that blue there because I was a bit of an umpty and I scraped the paint off, and we had green paint, so I put blue paint on it. I'll weather that at some point, or I'll just push the window out, put the correct colour in there. You know, it's when I've got a bit of BR blue mixed up, which won't be for some time, I'll just push the window out, paint the edge, and then redo the window. And I just love this stuff. It's fantastic. You can see, look how much more it looks like it's got two little eyes. So hopefully you found this helpful. And honestly, I haven't done a coach, but this stuff is really quite good. It's very clear. The only thing I would say, on here, it convexes ever so slightly. You can see that where the light just beams off it. I don't mind that at all. You know, to me, we've got a transparency on there. N-gauge is so small that just having a transparency to reflect the light, it just makes all that difference. So hopefully this video has been helpful. You can see how I applied it. You just need a cocktail stick. And what I would say is there's a little bit of card that sits on the top to stop the air and moisture getting in. Just make sure that's in the lid when you put it back on. And that's it, guys. So I'll put a link in the description, and hopefully this helps you out. And I'm intrigued as well because the biggest hole that I've covered is literally that, which that's about 7mm by 5mm, I would say, or 4.4mm, 7 by 4.4mm, something like that. So if you guys have already used this, I'd be interested to see what sort of gap you've kind of bridged in the past, or what you've actually used it for as well, because it has no limits. I'm definitely going to be using this on lights in the future, because a lot of shells do not have lenses, so I'll have to drill a hole, put an LED in there, and I'll be putting some of this in there for sure. So yep, thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next video.